Hello. Well, I'm MC Breeze. That's what they call me. That's what they started calling me. I'm 45 years old, and they waited to give me a nice little nickname, MC Breeze. Well, guess what? I really don't like it, but I'm taking it. Anyway, they usually call me Bri Bri. I've been called that since I was real young. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and why I'm doing this and trying to get some information for you guys out there that don't know much about Waco. That's where I'm at, and I said Waco, Texas. It's kind of crazy. There's so many things that go on here that people don't know about, the hidden. And you see that stuff on TV and you wonder what it's like out there now after it's been years and stuff has happened. So I'm going to bring that to you as well. I'm going to name a few things today, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in Akron, Ohio. Yeah, unfortunately, Akron, Ohio. And I'm 1971 at the North Hill area. So you Ohio fans, I'm a huge Ohio fan. I would have a channel about sports, but the sports that I like, they really don't do that well. And even the ones that do well, they make it to the end and they fail every time. Except for our Cavaliers. Now they do okay. Now the Buckeyes did this year, they did alright. But anyway, that's right. A little bit about me. 45, I grew up in Akron, Ohio until about I was 11. And my father and mother, my dad came down here from Ohio to here to Texas. And it was with a rubber company called General Tire. Well, General Tire actually closed after a few years after we got here, and he just stayed here. And that's what people do. They come here to Waco and they stay here. That's not right. But it does. That's what happened. So after that, he got into the bowling business. But I've been bowling since I was 5 years old. So I got into bowling. I loved it a lot. And I've done it all my life. I became okay at it. Some people I beat, some people I don't. It doesn't matter. I've even taught it for a few years, became a coach. That was lots of fun. I was president of an association here in Waco. Lots of kids, lots of good kids. So, a little bit about me. Some things have happened and, they're not always true. And then some things are true. And I'm not really going to go into specific detail, but they all happened to all of us. And I've learned from a lot of mistakes that have happened in the past. And I'm moving on and accepting things and trying to make things better. But as of right now, the reason why I'm creating this YouTube channel is because I've got pretty bad arthritis in my back. I can't do the things I really love to do, like disc golf, bowling, outside sports, or anything like that. I can sit in front of a TV and play video games and be bored. It could help a little bit, play some football games. I like all that, or some basketball, shoot some hoops, whatever. But I can't do the things outdoors I used to. So I become a YouTuber. And that's what I want you to enjoy. So here are some of the things that I'm going to bring up during this YouTube season. I'm going to call 3 months a season for me. So this season here is going to be all about Waco. The Texas shootout at the Twin what you call it. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but anyway, I'm going to actually go to that area. I'm going to actually video the area and say some documents about it. And even the trials have started just recently here in Waco. More trials. There's already been trials going on, but there's more trials going on about the two biker groups that were really involved with the police in that area. And then I'm going to do the Waco Siege, which is the Branch Davidians area. Now I'm going to go out there and take a peek what it looks like now compared to what it was in 1993, 92 area. Okay, I'm going to take a huge peek at that and make a little documentary about that, show people what it looks like, maybe even try to get somebody to interview for that situation. We're going to go out there and take a peek at it. Back a long time ago, it kind of looked like this. I don't know if you could see that very well. But that was the Waco Siege, and that was the ones that caught on fire out there. And I'm not sure really who started it, David Koresh or the police. I'm not sure what happened out in that situation. But I'm going to do things like that, and probably there's a thing about Cameron Park here in Waco, Texas. I don't know if you never heard of Cameron Park, but there's lots of ghost stories. And I'm going to follow up on these ghost stories and hopefully bring you some really cool information, or maybe even see some things that are unexplainable. That's what I want to do. I'm going to go to some graveyards, and then I'm going to go do interviewing. I'm going to interview bums. Not necessarily bums, but people that are on the streets, that's been on the street, and I want to know why. I want to know their background. I want to see who they were. Kind of like a Joe Dirt story. That would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Sit down with a young gentleman. He may not look the greatest. He might not be the cleanest man in the world. He might have grease hanging out of his hair. But you know what I'm saying. I might even be doing some skits and stuff like that. And, putting a few things in like that. Doing some small skits, some fun skits for everyone. But my main goal is to bring you things that have happened in Waco that you just don't hear about anymore. And it's not because it's not interesting, because it is still. Because I still get questions like on the internet, hey, the thing about the Branch Davidians, what really happened, and what, do you know anything? Well, actually, it wasn't in Waco. It's outside of Waco. And I don't know why the Whack of Waco got rap for it. They shouldn't have. But they did. And then I'm also going to take you to some positive things, like the Magnolia place. I might take you out to one of the houses they built and see how that looks, and do a little story about that as well. Them people that love the Magnolia, it's going crazy. But I can say that, it's okay. But I'm also going to be doing, the interviews with the bumps is really going to be interesting to me. That's really, really going to be interesting. And I hope to others too. And there is a graveyard in Waco area, actually in Bruceville, Eddy, that's got some of the caskets hanging outside of the ground, or they've been reburied, like from 4 to 5 years ago. They were hanging out the side. They weren't actually deep enough, I believe, and they're just, you could see some of them, so it's kind of spooky. So I may just bring that video to you to let you see all that, and well, we'll go from there. And then pretty much that's what this is going to be about the unknown, the unspeakable, people you don't normally talk to, interviews, and some funny skits with some friends, and maybe even some singing, and I'm not really going to do much on sports, because the sports I like, the teams I like is like Miami Dolphins, Cleveland Indians, Cleveland Browns. Them are my favorite teams, unfortunately. Ohio State. They've all done well, but they still stink. That's just the way it is. They don't win anything. No championship. Nothing. So that's enough. We'll talk about that. So that's just me, and that's how that cookie crumbles. So another thing about life in general, there's a thing about politics that I'm going to bring up. I'm only going to bring up one thing. One thing. And my friend, this is what he wrote. And this is what I want to tell you. I'll be glad to see everybody will shut up about it already. This election is over, and I'm more interested what the next 4 years brings. And I don't give a damn about politics or who voted for who. What matters is the future, because the pace in history, it's time for everybody to pull together instead of bickering about what political party that you believe in. People have lost insight of what freedom of speech and democracy is all about. I can disagree with someone about something, and the reason why that was said is because it's a good friend, and not blow up and not be friends because that person had different views than mine. I'm absolutely appalled that some people have done nothing but the B word and have posted crap about different political groups. We as Americans should be pulling together to make this country great again and not fighting amongst ourselves about our political views. Come on, people. Grow up. Now, I like that a lot. When I read that, it really meant a lot. Gave me little chills there. And who cares? It's a president. No matter what he does, we cannot do anything about it. So that's enough politics. That's all I'm going to say through this whole series. Or my season. Anyway, I thank you right now for taking part in this and watching this. And I've got one more thing to say about my history. Just this past summer, this year, I didn't work very much, but I did get to be involved in something that made me very, very happy. I was in a movie. I was actually a SWAT team member. I didn't know much about guns, and I'm not saying guns are bad or guns are good, but I did not know much about guns at all. And they had to teach me how to hold a gun to be a SWAT team officer. So I played this part where there was a young girl that was gothic, kind of, which is cool. She turned that way after being rebellious towards her parents that were so strict. Now, parents, take that in mind. Their parents were so strict that she became rebellious. Think about it. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Anyway, so she took a ride on a bus, and as she did, that bus got hijacked. And guess who came to save the day? It was the SWAT team. Got 4 members of the SWAT team, plus some cops, and a bunch involved. Was on a helicopter, flew off on a helicopter, out in the sky, and came down, and we ran out of the helicopter, busted into the house, saved the hostages. It was really cool. I was really excited. Plus, we're going to be in some more movies. I'm going to be in a couple more. I'm going to be in some film festival movies that are coming up. Can't wait for that. We're going to do a casting calls in the Waco area. We're going to do a casting call soon for that. So if you were interested, hit me up. Just say interested in the comments. But once again, I'm sorry to bore you so much, and if I bored you, that's just too bad, because that's how my blank, blank, blank. I ain't gonna say it out loud. But anyway, that's just how I feel. So anyways, please subscribe. Push that little button. Push that little button. Subscribe if you would. And I would love to see more of you guys. And comment as always, as much as you can. Once again, I'm Bri, and have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. You'll be expecting lots of videos from me. You ain't even gonna believe what I'm gonna put out there. I am crazy. I like to have fun, and you're not gonna believe it. So stay tuned.